Welcome to Finding Humans in Tech, where we uncover the extraordinary stories behind the technology shaping our world. This isn't just about innovation, it's about the people, the dreamers, the doers, and the change makers, whose journeys remind us that humanity is the soul of every breakthrough. Get ready to be inspired, to connect, and to celebrate the resilience and passion that drive the tech community forward. Let's dive into the stories that prove technology is nothing without the humans behind it. The world of gaming has a unique history. It is quite ironic that the first games were developed as an effect of the creation of the breakthrough mainframe computers that were used for code breaking in the World War II era. As computers became more powerful and entered the arena of academic institutions, countless developments ensued in creating complex and realistic computer games. The 1960s saw the creation of Space War by researchers over at MIT, and the following decade saw an increase in arcade games such as Pong Wars, which became an instant hit and a pioneer in mass game development. From arcade games to consoles to the much popular mobile games, the gaming industry has massively evolved over the years. Behind these amazing graphics and great gameplay lies a team of developers, designers, and testers who meticulously put in the hours to create a world of fantasy where you can slay demons and be the hero of your own story. It's a fact that not many people get to say they have the coolest job in the world. One such person is this suave super dad and magnetic human who has shown us what it means to follow your passion and turn your unconventional dreams into a reality. Born on the island of Hawaii and brought up in the US and India, he has been weaving magic into the game industry for over a decade now. So, here's introducing our next human in the series, Haider Choonawala, an inspiring senior game product manager and lead designer extraordinaire who has been actively supporting diversity and inclusion in the gaming industry. He represents the incredible breed of developers and designers, working relentlessly each day to make the gaming world more representative and usher in a new era of game development. Born in the Aloha state of Hawaii, Haider recalls growing up in different parts of the world. He was still a toddler when his parents came back to India. I don't have much significant memory of the place, but I have always felt drawn towards the ocean, he reminisces. He completed high school in New Mexico at a prestigious private boarding school known as the United World College. Afterward, he returned to India and completed his computer science engineering at the Pune Institute of Computer Technology. His early education had taught him to focus on logic rather than rote learning. In his uni days, he recalls how his roommates and close friends, Parag and Harsh, would fill up his attendance while he would code through the day in his dorm. He did not feel that he would benefit from these classes that emphasized theory rather than creating programs. He gleefully admits how most of his classmates would use his codes for their projects and assignments. The first programming language he recalls learning was Java in a training school, and the language in which he really excelled was C++. Developing algorithms intrigued him and led him to dive deeper into the subject. He would say, "Programming came naturally to me." Growing up in a predominantly business world, his dad studied in Hawaii and is an entrepreneur at heart. Hailing from an affluent business family, his mom had also managed the import and export part of her family business in the textile industry before her marriage. It was natural for Haider to follow in their footsteps, but he was determined to choose his own path. From day one, his parents have supported his inclination towards the tech world. There was enough freedom for him to follow his dream, and their quiet affirmation to let him have a career of his choice is something Haider feels deeply grateful for. He mentions how his cousin, Haider Choonawala, has been one of his biggest cheerleaders in the family. "She gets what I do," he exclaims affectionately. This special bond he shares with his cousin has made the storyline of Baldur's Gate 2 one of his recent favorites. The unique dynamic of a sibling relationship, as its storyline, has captivated millions of gamers, and he wishes to see more such remarkable storylines in the future. A significant part of his childhood was spent in Mumbai. His paternal grandfather was among the carefully chosen C-suite executives in the Tata Group, and he recalls having a privileged upbringing in the posh South Bombay neighborhood. Growing up in a large joint family, he recalls being one of the oldest grandchildren, caring for his younger cousins, and also getting the utmost love and attention from his grandparents. He recounts, "I was always overfed as a kid. The extra affection he got, particularly from his grandma, made him pack the pounds while growing up. And that's how he found his passion for fitness when he signed up at the gym at 15. He animatedly details how working out has been an integral part of his life, and he has been trying out various fitness regimes and diets over the years. Coming from a family of industrialists and businessmen, there were also some hard times. His dad, the senior Choonawala, had lost a significant fortune from his investments in a solar car project. He vividly remembers how his parents shielded their children from facing the brunt of their financial difficulties. They even had to shift base to the nearby city of Pune. But for him and his brother, it was a blessing in disguise. The reset in their lives had brought in more family time, and his parents finally found some time off from their busy schedules to focus on themselves. He explains, "It meant we got more time together as a family, and it is one of my happy memories." Having seen the ups and downs of the business world, he reveals how he realized early on the importance of finding out what makes you happy. It made his decision to follow his passion for game development stronger. He knew he wanted a career that made him excited to work each day. Money doesn't equate to happiness. We were happier when our family had to worry less about their businesses, he remarks. He lightheartedly mentions how it was like being in his own version of the famous sitcom Schitt's Creek, and how it was a motivating factor to get into the video game industry. He knew head-on that he had to forge his unique path too. He admits that he didn't have to think twice about what he wanted to do after graduation. He has always been fascinated by video games, for as long as he can remember. "When I got my first Nintendo, I knew I wanted to make video games," he recalls happily. The first game he ever played on his Nintendo was Mario. He recalls how his first job out of college was working as a quality assurance engineer for Ubisoft. And he gaily describes how he got a couple of opportunities to work with the creators of Mario and on Nintendo consoles. Life had indeed come full circle for him. He admits, "I had a quick growth. Within 3 years, I was promoted from QA to lead game designer." It was at his workplace that he met his mentor, Pauline Jacques, who taught him the ins and outs of the industry. His resilience and hard work paid off as he quickly climbed the ranks from junior to senior game designer and became a lead game designer for the company. He has shipped several popular games over his years at Ubisoft, of which the Assassin's Creed series and Prince of Persia stand out. Having been an avid gamer himself, when an opportunity came to join BioWare, he would take it up in a heartbeat. The Canadian video game company is well known for its role-playing and multiplayer games, and some of its famous game franchises include Baldur's Gate, Star Wars, Mass Effect, and Jade Empire, to name a few. "I have always been a BioWare fan my whole life," he proudly reveals. He is currently involved in the team developing the next series in the popular Dragon Age franchise. Having been in the industry for over a decade, he has donned several hats in the world of game development. From being involved in player research to game economy design, he has seen it all. In his nascent years in the industry, he was focused on rewarding players with XPs, loot, equipment, currencies, and levels. That has led to his renewed interest in playtesting, and he now leads a team for player research where they collaborate with different departments, from user research to consumer insights and analytics, to create the best products possible. He explains, the most intrinsic reward is to see how players react to our games. Being given the life to live out his dream and create products that he has always been fascinated by. This is one story of a brave heart who dodged all hurdles and broke barriers to turn his passion into a reality. I am the happiest I have ever been. I make video games for a living, he exclaims excitedly. Happiness is something he discovered with his first Nintendo, and it now extends to the millions of gamers worldwide who feel the same joy in these video games as their makers. The first game he was involved in as a QA engineer decades ago was a collaboration with Nintendo DS called Sweet 16, which targeted children under 13. He acknowledges how his early projects taught him the importance of good game design. He has come a long way from the early days to leading teams involved in games played by millions across the world. He recounts how one of his colleagues, a rocket scientist turned game developer, would admit that game development is sometimes more challenging than rocket science, as it had to appeal to a whole generation of gamers who are constantly seeking to upgrade their gaming experience. His earliest memory of leading his first design team was for a compilation of board games for the first generation of iPhones called the iPhone 1. The inspiration behind some of these games stems from his childhood memories of playing chess and rummy with his grandparents. He describes, I remember reverse engineering the AI system in Chessmaster and simplifying it to be able to run it in mobile phones. The Master All Classics game was Ubisoft's most successful game on the iPhone in the early 20s. He recalls how implementing the 3 C's of game development, character controls and camera, on a mobile platform was a challenging and rewarding task. Such games ushered in a new era of mobile game development that started from the popular good old Tetris to the recent global phenomenon of PUBG. The gaming industry has come a long way. His proudest moment, as he recollects it, has been his work in the Assassin's Creed multiplayer, which was a single-player gameplay and one of Ubisoft's biggest AAA franchises until then. A small team of 3 had helmed the project. He remembers how they would playtest these games throughout the day for months and make changes based on the testers' feedback. All the hard work paid off when they found the perfect gameplay that enabled the popular franchise to transition to a multiplayer game. He excitedly recalls, the players' facial expressions and reactions made us realize that this was the game we would ship on the console. That was a major success that he fondly looks back on. His first stint in the gaming industry introduced him to MMORPGs, or massively multiplayer online role-playing games. He recalls the initial RPGs on the market, like Might and Magic, which are gaming concepts that resonate closely with his heart. He wishes to see more role-playing games in the future where players can customize their characters and bring more representation to the gaming industry. He laments, a few years back, all characters fit one narrative, and players did not have the option to see themselves represented in the games they play. Diversity and inclusion have been something he feels passionate about, being in the industry for so long. These options for character customizations really appealed to him about BioWare. I would like to see players feel like the hero of their own storyline, he expresses. He first met his wife at a cousin's wedding in India, and he recalls how they reconnected years later when he was nursing a broken heart. She was handing out sweets in a pink Indian dress at the wedding. He vividly recalls the first time he saw her. That was the beginning of how destiny led him to someone who would become an indispensable part of his journey. Recollecting a fond memory of their time together, he narrates about the romantic date where he proposed to the love of his life. When I figured out that she was the one, we went out for a date at her favorite French restaurant. And that's where I asked her to marry me, he recounts happily. Finding the right partner would change life as he knew it and would become a source of inspiration for his later works. His wife has continued to be his lifelong support system, and they have been together for more than a decade now. He admits how she has stood by his side through all the decisions he has made about his career and challenges he has faced in his life. And now, a little bundle of joy has arrived at their home recently, and it has become their biggest source of love, utter bliss, and contentment. As new parents, their world now revolves around their son. With his own set of experiences growing up, he wants to change the lack of displaying love and affection associated with most parenting styles in Asian cultures. He explains how his parents were also unable to openly communicate their emotions and feelings to their children. He would say, "I want to change that narrative with my son. I express my emotions and celebrate all his small little achievements." Fatherhood has shown him a different side to life. He describes how his son likes to be outside around nature. So, it was only natural that the doting father had recently started to enjoy kayaking in still waters, thanks to his son's love for waddling ducks. He divulges, "Our baby loves the outdoors and duckies, and we spend a lot of holidays in parks and creeks, most days kayaking. The importance of work-life balance has dawned on him lately, and he acknowledges how becoming a dad has changed his perspective on life. His viewpoint on game design and storylines has evolved with the times, as he explains how the early games were traditionally based on romantic storylines of saving princesses and fulfilling destinies. Recent popular games like God of War have changed the stereotypical narrative and shown a father-son storyline." He cheerfully remarks, "We can tell more stories with diverse relationships. It doesn't have to be one narrative anymore." Drawing inspiration from his partner's strength and resolve as a mother, he hopes to see someday games that can highlight the dynamics of a mother and child relationship. It's not every day that you get to meet your heroes, and Haider has indeed shown us what saving the world in your own way looks like. Believe in your dreams is the one mantra this super dad stands by. He reminds us of a powerful mage who once said, "We stand on the precipice of change. The world fears the inevitable plummet into the abyss. Watch for that moment, and when it comes, do not hesitate to leap. For it is when we fall, we learn whether we can fly." Flemeth, Dragon Age 2. So, the next time we play one of these games, don't forget to remember the countless mages who work tirelessly behind the scenes each day, building a virtual world of endless possibilities, and who have seamlessly shown us the power of believing in one's dreams, no matter how crazy they may be. Somewhere in these games lie the codes and designs of amazing superheroes who have transformed our childhoods and lives, nameless, faceless, and often unknown. This heartwarming story was a tribute and a thank you note to all the silent superheroes who have made us feel invincible, and to the crazy ones who continue to take that leap. Here's for the win. As we wrap up this episode of Finding Humans in Tech, remember this: behind every line of code, Every groundbreaking innovation and every bold idea is a human story, full of passion, resilience, and the courage to dream. These stories remind us that technology isn't just about machines, it's about the heartbeats that make them meaningful. Subscribe, like, and share our channel, and keep on joining us in this journey of discovery and connection. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep innovating, and always keep shining the light.